Now then, YouTube, I hope you're all well. Let's start this video with a packing a light. So we are going to start today's video with a packing a light, but it's going to be a little different because today is part 2 on the beginner's pipe smoking guide. If you haven't watched part 1 and you think it might be up your street, it's on my channel. We go through basics of cleaning a pipe, like an everyday clean, and packing the pipe. So today we're going to learn how to light the pipe, or how I light the pipe, and a few do's and don'ts what I've learnt along the way. So first of all, I'd like to point out that there's many ways to light your pipe, and there's only one real way that you shouldn't do. And even that, I've heard that people do it, but I can't see the benefits from it at all. And that's using the turbo cigar type flames. You know, the real aggressive flames. If you can, try to stick to a softer flame. Now, there's a few different styles of lighters, different lighter fluids, gases, etc. It all comes down to personal preference. For me, the best way to light a pipe is with matches, but any other lighter other than the turbo lighters will do. Zippos will give you a taste of lighter fluid for a few puffs, then it dissipates. Having said that, there is different inserts that you can get for the Zippos. There's pipe lighter inserts, there's ones to convert your Zippo into gas rather than the petroleum style lighter fluid, and all sorts. Now of course, matches are all well and good until you're outside and it's windy, which is a topic that we're going to cover later. But generally, the aim of the game is to light the pipe without burning the tobacco. And I just want to point out that a lot of new pipe smokers, including myself, his first aim is to smoke the pipe without it going out. Now, to me, that is not even something that's worth worrying about, because if we're doing a trade-off between keeping a light pipe lit from start to finish and smoking a pipe slowly and keeping its flavour, the latter is always favourable. What you find is, if you're trying to keep it lit when you first start out, you often can burn the tobacco, which is really not what we want. It really doesn't matter how many times you relight your pipe, and experience will later reward you with being able to keep it lit longer. But you often find it's easy enough when you sat there by yourself, minding your own business, watching the telly, whatever. It's really easy to do. but when you get out and you're talking to people, or you're trying to do a YouTube video, or you're working or whatever, it is hard to concentrate and keep it lit. So before we light this damn thing, we shall do some housekeeping. So it is the LCS bent billiard, faux spigot pipe, 9mm filter, absolutely stunning stem, really up my street this pipe, and in it is some 25th of the 3rd, so almost a year old, McBaron's vanilla roll cake. This pipe has been packed for the case of this experiment, or this, not experiment, what's the word, display. It's been packed exactly the way that we covered in part 1. Now, part 1 covered the packing of the pipe and a basic clean for the pipe, and that's on my channel, about 2 or 3 videos down, for anybody who wants to look at the beginner's guide to smoking a pipe, part 1. Now part 2, obviously we're going to be lighting it, so we'll use in my opinion favourable matches, and there's a couple of ways of doing it. Now these matches are what Simon uses, and they are probably nearly double the size of a standard match. So first of all, you light your match, and then you want to wait for the sulphur to burn off the matches, and then you want to light your pipe. Now if you're on standard short matches, I find it useful to hold 2 together and light 2, because it doubles your match burning time, so it's not such a big hurry to light the pipe. You want to try the 2 light method, which is where you do a char light, which we'll show you, and then the true light, which is where you light the pipe. So if we imagine these matches are lit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently hover the flame over the tobacco in a circular motion, and what I'm going to do is draw on the pipe to pull the flame down to kiss the tobacco, and then we just want to establish a nice even charring. So let's give it a go, and just for the purpose of the display we shall use 2 matches. With these being longer, you can get away with using 1. So you can smell it in the air. Just wait for the sulphur to burn off, hover over the top, and then we're going to pull the flame down. So as I've said, just put them out. The purpose of this is not to light the pipe, just to char the tobacco. So as you can see, we've charred the tobacco. Now leave the pipe until it's gone out. I could nearly resurrect that, but we're not going to. Once the pipe is firmly out, this will be the true light. So now the aim is to light the pipe. And that's as simple as it can be. Now, let's talk about smoking the pipe. So, you traditionally see people doing what I'm doing now, which is to draw on the pipe and blow it out the mouth. Well, obviously you can do that, but there's a little bit more to it. You need to do what they call purging. So regularly you need to purge the pipe, which helps keep the tobacco clean and stops it from going stale, because you are obviously pulling down the smoke, and the smoke is getting filtered naturally through your tobacco. Excuse me. And what purging does is basically blow the smoke the other way and help burn off some of the nastiness. So what I'm doing is I'm inhaling, blowing smoke out of my mouth, and then every now and again I'll purge the pipe, which is blowing through the pipe like this. I also have adopted my own take on mutton chop pipers' theory of pipe smoking, and I make a seal with my mouth and inhale through my nose. Which helps to taste the tobacco better. And there's also something called retrohaling, where you inhale the smoke and you blow 3/4 of it out through your mouth and the last bit out through your nose. Like that. That helps with certain flavours. And the main thing is obviously not burning the tobacco when you light it, but that's no good if you toke it to death and burn the tobacco that way. So the other important thing is to have a nice steady cadence. I suppose the aim of the game is to smoke the pipe on the brink of going out the whole time. So if you notice, then you may need to rewind, but just after what I said, I toked on the pipe and hardly any smoke came out of my mouth. So I just seesawed the smoke back and forth using my nose to inhale and then blow it back through the pipe. See, no smoke. You see, everybody can let the pipe go out. How embarrassing. But not to worry, it just proves my point. as I was saying, when your pipe is on the brink of going out, you can cease all the smoke to reignite the fire. The other thing that you can do is cover it. That'll make it dry. Now, smoking outside, this bit is especially for Daryl, but it can apply to everybody. So there's a few scenarios that can really hinder the pipe smoker. One of them is rain. So you're smoking your pipe, it starts raining. What do? Now, if you've packed your pipe, like I said, simply turn it upside down and smoke it. Now, no rain can go in your pipe, so that one's easily cured. The other one is, if you're smoking outside, not so much when you're walking, this won't help. If you're smoking outside and it's windy and you're walking, you'll need a wind cap. But if you're outside and you're sat there on your veranda or whatever and the wind's coming in this direction and you don't, just simply turn your pipe. And it'll limit how much the wind is drawing your tobacco. It's just a few things what I've learnt along the way. Same as I say, don't worry about your pipe going out. It's absolutely no problem. As we've just seen, embarrassingly, when I was just about to tell you how to keep it lit, the damn thing went out. But that's what I'm saying. You're trying to smoke your pipe on the brink of extinction. So at the moment, I'm smoking it a little bit hard, and if I carried on, it would probably burn the tobacco, because we've got lots of smoke up. We don't really want that. We don't want the great burning ember like that. At the end of the day, it's not a race. The next thing to mention is tamping. It's a very controversial subject. I think it all comes down to preference, and this is why I didn't mention it at the time. But you'll notice after I did my char light, I then tamped the tobacco gently, then did my true light. I find that works best for me. And as you're smoking, that's going to have to be something that you experiment with. In my opinion, you can't really go wrong with how many times you tamp it, providing you don't tamp it down too much, too hard. The way I understand it is this is like an upside down fire. This is the chimney and this is the fire. And basically, you are the wind that's drawing on the chimney, and the tobacco is on top of the fire. So what happens is, as you smoke it, the ember sinks down the bowl, or should I say, the tobacco sinks down the bowl, but the embers stop at the top in the ash. This is the seesaw method I spoke about. See how we had no smoke, and now with the seesawing of the smoke, that's what you should try first to get it going. By that I mean in through your nose and then out through your pipe. But if that's not working, both fingers on top of the pipe and then inhale a few times, long and sharp, and that should get it going again. Sorry, where was I? So all you're wanting to do is basically gently tamp down the ash to keep it in contact with the tobacco. That's all we're doing with tamping. We don't want to compress the tobacco in any way. We're just literally tamping down the ash so it stops on top of the tobacco. Again, there's some fantastic tampers. I have got a remarkable tamper that was made for me by Giuliano, and it was actually gifted to me by Mark Welsh Piper, a fantastic friend of mine, which I normally use when I'm up here in the smoking emporium. But when I'm out at work, I use God's tamper, the finger. But I will warn you, you can burn your finger if you don't watch. On a side note, this is something I've decided to add in afterwards, but it will be in amongst the middle of the video. I thought I'd add in a sort of a troubleshooting guide of common problems you can encounter while you're lighting your pipe and initially smoking your pipe. So you've got your pipe going, and no matter what you do, you can't keep it lit. Even if you drag on it hard, you can't keep it lit. That can be a number of things, but it will most likely be that the tobacco moisture level is too high. Then, you know, if you're finding that it burns hot and goes out easily, that's probably down to the moisture level being too high. Equally, it could be that the drawer is wrong. So you feel like you've packed your pipe right and the drawer was right, and now all of a sudden you know, it keeps going out. Now, it's not beyond the realms of I've had it in the past where a piece of tobacco has got lodged in the draft hole and it's not allowing you to draw on the pipe. So this is up to you, because it's not always recommended. But if you think that's the problem, if you're sure your moisture's right, you can take off the stem and just pop down a pipe cleaner, and then if there is anything lodged in the draft hole, you know, it will smoke, it will clear it. Now, the reason why I say it's not always recommended is because of this spigot, dovetail people say that taking them in and out when it's hot can wear it. Now, I do agree with that, but most of my pipes have this flexible insert, and it's actually, I can squeeze it, it's actually a real flexible plastic. Now if the 9mm stem has been turned down, this will be made out of the same material as the stem. That's highly likely that if you was to take it in and out, it could seriously damage your pipe. But I think with these pre-made 9mm inserts, I don't think you can really go wrong. They've gone out. So let the sulphur burn off. Wait for the smoke to clear. And then let the match go out. I'm not editing this because this is real life. So, another problem, we've touched on it already, you're smoking your pipe and it's drawing like hell. You just sat here, you're holding your pipe in your hand and it's smoking uncontrollably. That could be two things. One, wind. Oh, you're outside, have you got some wind? That could be one of your problems. But if you're inside and it's doing it, again, that can be a moisture issue. If your pipe tobacco is too dry, it will burn uncontrollably and you'll not be getting the flavour from that tobacco. So then you need to, you may as well empty your bowl out, find something else and rehydrate your tobacco. Now there's many good videos on how to rehydrate tobacco. I believe Simon at LCS has done one. Dale Piper has definitely done one. It's very inexpensive to do, just costs time really, and I think distilled water. It's not something I've ever done. I've been lucky enough to not have to do it so far. The other thing we've got to look out for, so you're smoking your pipe and the bowl is getting too hot. You know, you should always, your bowl should always only just feel warm, in my opinion. But you could get this bowl that hot, you couldn't even touch it. The solution to that is, again, it could be a multitude of things, but it's most likely a cadence. That your cadence is too fast. You're drawing on your pipe too much. You're too worried about it going out. So, even if you're a clencher like me, every now and again, just feel your pipe. You know, it shouldn't be getting warm. If it is, you're just damaging your bowl and you're ruining your tobacco. But it can create hot spots in the tobacco and it can basically burn a hole in your pipe. So you really need to watch out for that. So that's it for the bonus troubleshooting video. Back to it. So that's it for the bonus troubleshooting extra scene. Let's get back to it. Thanks to everybody who have given me well wishes and checked in on me. It's really overwhelming, that, because it just goes to show that these people are true friends and miss you when you're not there, which is really nice. So again, like last time, twice in one day. Well, I hope that helps out anybody who's interested. Now, like I say, keep an eye out for part 3. And of course, till next time, keep it lit, but not at the cost of burning the tobacco.